morning and welcome to another episode of On This Day. I'm Christy and I'll be here to take you on your magical journey. Today is Friday, August 13th, 2020. Friday, August 15th, 2025. And today is Friday, so it's also our wrap-up day. We'll talk about some of the things that we discussed through Monday and Wednesday and some new things that we learned along the way on Friday, which is today. On Monday, we talked about how in 1956, Elvis Presley released his double-sided single, Don't Be Cruel and Hound Dog. It stayed at the charts for 11 straight weeks at number 1. It held that record until 1992 when Boyz II Men took over that song with their single, End of the Road. We also discussed how in 1979, Led Zeppelin unknowingly did their last performance. Wait a minute. Yeah. Did their last performance in the UK to an audience of over 104,000 people. They played a couple of short-sighted events, but they decided to split after their drummer, John Bonham, passed away. We also discovered, that it was National Play in the Sand Day and Sons and Daughters Day. So not only do mothers and fathers and grandparents have days, we now have Sons and Daughters Day. There. And we also talked about how scientists found the oldest known living Greenland shark at the age of 392 years old. Now that got me to thinking about something. Jellyfish and Greenland sharks apparently have something in common. Jellyfish are completely immortal. The only way to kill them is if they're murdered, obviously, or if they're eaten by another predator. And Greenland sharks are living. They obviously haven't found the oldest ever shark, I'm sure. And I'm wondering if they're since scientists are doing this, I'm wondering if they're checking out how they can make it so we have a better chance of living longer. I wouldn't mind having some of my family live a little longer. Anyhow. And in 1866, Rhode Island opened its very first roller skating rink in a dining room of the the Atlantic House Resort in Newport. On Wednesday, we talked about how in 1994, the first full day of Woodstock 94 was called the day 2 More Days of Music and Peace. It was also very, very rainy and very, very muddy from what I hear. The event commemorated the 25th anniversary of the original Woodstock in 1969. Also, in 1965, Jefferson Airplane played their first public appearance at the Matrix in San Francisco. And just 2 years later, Fleetwood Mac would made their live debut at the National Jazz and Blues Festival in Windsor, England. And factoids was a big one for that day, so I only did one fax for that day because it was very long. So Wednesday was left-handers day. Left-handers have always had issues, even before they realized they were a little different. Things just didn't feel right to them. Like, they couldn't understand why there was so many ink pens on their hands and their paper when they went to school. And in some cases, they were ridiculed because everything was, at that time, was made for right-handers. Now we have both left and right-hand things. But back then, in the Middle Ages, if you were left-handed, you were accused of witchcraft and being evil, both of which was a death sentence. And so that takes us to Friday, which is today. So we have some new facts and new fun. On this day in music in 1990, the Steve Miller Band topped the UK charts with The Joker. 16 years after its original release, the song, which hit #1 in the US in 1974, found a new generation of fans after appearing in a Levi's commercial. And it earned a record for transatlantic longest gap. It earned the longest gap for transatlantic chart toppers. Whew. Also, in 1965, the Ford Motor Company offered to install the 8-track in every one of its vehicles to consumers. Now, the thing is before that was a full year before the 8-track was offered to consumers for in-home use. And it was the latest technology for the time, obviously. Also, some factoid. On August 15th is officially Check the Chip Day and Relaxation Day. So relax while you're checking your chips. I still have no idea what that means, but I'm probably going to look it up and I'll tell you on Monday. Also on this day, Pedro Arias Davila founded the Panama City. It became a landscape point for the conquest of Peru, and a transit point for goods being transported back to Spain. In 2013, Christopher Hellion announced the discovery of the Olingato. It's a mammal of the raccoon family. It's really cute. So we're still discovering things all the way in 2013. That's been a long time. Anyway, birthdays. Sign Tolley Anderson, 1941. Ola Brunkett, 1946. Michael Dorge, 1960. Paul Thompson, 1977. Zach Fulkus, 1978. Yvette Sosa, 1976. Tim Willem, 1958. Jackie Graham, 1956. Lee Dorman, 1942. And Les Braid, 1941. So, thank you everybody for taking the time to listen and say hello. Got any questions, comments, ideas? Shoot me a line. I'll be happy to answer. Mrs. Ben